Me, Aaron and our friend Shane have just arrived at the beach. We've managed to find one fossil already. I've just found something mega. It could be a really good one. We might get a better look. Oh, wow, look at that. Oh, there's some nice crushed ammonites down here in the shale. Looks like we've got some Dactylioceras ammonites here, and then washed alongside it, we've got some Tiltonoceras ammonites. As you can see, they're really crushed, so that's usually the case when they're in this shale. We've spotted a nodule in the distance, which looks like it could contain a fossil. See this nice, really round, green pyritic stone. There we go, got my hammer. Now I just need to put some safety glasses on. Right, let's get cracking. Got a clean split. Is there anything inside? Okay, there's nothing in this top section. We'll split it again just to make sure. Okay, it looks like it's going to be completely empty. Let's keep moving along the beach and we'll see what we find along the way.
We've had a fair few really good finds lately, and our dad is so excited to prepare them that he's actually stayed home today to continue work in the workshop. Let's go and have a look at the fossil he's working on. Hidden beneath this shale is the find of a lifetime. Believe it or not, these jaws are from an Ichthyosaur, which is an extinct marine reptile. It lived in the ocean 180 million years ago, and these jaws are absolutely packed with fossilised teeth that are still sharp even to this day. We are doing something we don't normally do with fossils, and we have taken the decision to remove the jaws completely from the matrix. Thankfully, this fossil had no erosion whatsoever when we found it. It was freshly revealed. Removing much of that shale, we can start to gently loosen the fossil from the sediment. The jaws themselves will take much more preparation work, but for now, here's a little look at the progress we have made so far on this unremarkable find. We have already exposed many of the teeth, most of which are still sharp and perfectly intact. The bone quality is also absolutely excellent. However, as you can see, there is much more preparation work still to be done. This truly is an unbelievably rare find. I hope you've enjoyed having a little look at some of the work that our dad is doing to that fossil, and other fossils in particular, which we'll be showing as well. Now we're going to continue fossil hunting and see if we can find any new fossils for our dad to prepare when we get home.
There's an ammonite rock here in the boulders. Let's see if you can spot it, and then once we're giving you a little bit of time, we'll pick it up and show you. It's just in this small section here. Aaron's going to pan the camera across to give you a little idea of where it could be. Let's give you a little bit of time, see if you can spot it.
I'll move a bit closer just to make it slightly easier. Can you see it just yet? A little bit closer, and then hopefully you'll have spotted it.
It's right here. You're going to see a worn ammonite keel sticking out the edge. We just removed some of these stones. I'm hoping it's a full ammonite. So the ammonite isn't whole. There's a small piece there that's actually been crushed during preservation. So that isn't modern damage. That's back from when it was initially preserved. So we've just found this nodule, and then straight away we've spotted another one. Let's pick it up. So it was actually under this stone here. If I just flip that, Pick this up, you can see a tiny ammonite in this stone here. And you can see here, there's a small delve where the ammonite's been crushed during preservation. It's really nice when we find a fossil like this, and it tells a little bit of a story of how it lived all those years ago. I've spotted a fresh big piece of a limestone, which is covered in fossil squid-like creatures. You can see down here, really just freshly being exposed. And on the surface of it, you've got all these belemnites. There's a thin layer of shale covering some of them, but the vast majority have been revealed. There's not any particularly big belemnites here, unfortunately. However, they're really exciting to look at. And just to imagine 180 million years ago, when all of these squid were laid on the beach and then ended up being fossilized all together. Imagine what a sight it must have been. Washed up amongst some of the squid, there's also little pieces of ammonites, bits of coprolite as well, shells, bits of wood. This, again, like many fossils, tells a story of what must have happened around the time that all these creatures died and became preserved together. Of course, we're not going to be taking this home. It's way too big, and it's also a really nice feature piece for other people to look at as they come along on the beach. This one, however, has been in the sea for quite some time. You can see it's quite badly damaged on the outside, but I'm hoping we can get a nice centre. So I'll put my safety glasses on and we'll see if we can salvage anything from it. I'm just going to use the chisel end of my hammer. It looks like it should split open rather easily, and straight away got a small split. Oh, very nice. You can see the centres still all intact. And what we'd usually try to do with these is try and split the other side off as well and have a fully 3D ammonite out of the matrix. So let's try that and see how it goes. So I'll just gently tap this with the chisel. And as you can see, there's just a tiny piece of rock there to remove. But apart from that, we've got a lovely, nice 3D ammonite. We've just been searching in amongst boulders around here, and we've managed to spot an ammonite right in between a crack. So let's have a little look. I'll show you what we spotted at first. So if we just zoom the camera down here, you can see this really round nodule. And just on the edge, you can see a really nice ammonite keel. So I'll just dislodge that. See there's a quite pyritic nodule. You see there's quite a lot of green spots on it, which means it might be quite difficult to break open. But I'll get my safety glasses on and we'll see if we can crack it open. I'm not expecting it to open too easily because it's a very pyritic nodule. Okay, we've removed quite a lot of the excess material. You can see the nodule is nowhere as thick as it was, but the ammonite is still perfectly intact within the stone. So we'll be able to take this one home and we'll get our dad to prepare it and see what it looks like on the inside. Right, we've just hit a boulder field, so I'm going to make my way over the top and hopefully in amongst all of these larger stones we can find some fossils. Thought that stone looked like it had potential, but on closer inspection I don't think it'll contain anything, so we'll leave that one down there. Right, we're on to our next ammonite, just down here. Looks like there might be another partial one on this side as well. I think there's another fossil just down here. Oh, it's got the potential to have a fossil in it. See here some really fragmented pieces of ammonite. It actually looks like it's a Ichthyosaur, judging by this centre keel here. So this is one that we'll definitely crack open with the hammer. There's actually quite a lot of nodules in amongst these cracks today. I'm surprised they haven't been picked up because quite a few people have been on the beach already. Oh, there's another ammonite sticking out of this stone here. There you go. It's the third one in 5 minutes. It's got a really nice keel on that one actually. It's only just started to be exposed as well, so the rest of the ammonite could be really nice inside. Let's see what else we can spot. Just set these down on here so I don't know where they are. That nodule's got potential. We'll leave that one there. We'll crack that one open in a little bit after we've searched. Spotted another ammonite. See if you can see it. I might have made it quite obvious there. It was roughly in the centre of the camera to start. This little one down here. Oh yeah, that looks like a lovely one. It's definitely worth taking. Just spotted under this boulder there's a nodule that's already been cracked open. See if I can just wiggle it out. You can see there's been a lovely 3D ammonite on the surface, but what I imagine's happened is this has fallen from the cliff. This ammonite is broken off or someone's collected it, but I've actually just noticed that there's another ammonite in this part of the stone, so we'll be able to crack this open and hopefully there's a rather nice ammonite inside along with a partial negative. Got a few nodules there. My hand was full, so I'm just going to offload my gear and we'll continue searching in amongst these stones, and then once we've got a nice little pile of nodules to check, we'll crack them open and see what we can get out of them. It's a little piece of a Phyllosauris ammonite there. It's nicely pyritised. You can see some nice fool's gold on the surface. That's what gives it that lovely shine. Unfortunately not a complete one though, so we'll leave that. I've just been walking and searching in amongst these stones. I've spotted what looks to be an ammonite nodule. Oh yeah, won't be surprised if it's a Cataclossaurus. And then right next to it was this one, which hasn't preserved in the centre, but we'll definitely take this one. Aaron's going to film me now splitting some open, so let's see what we can get out of them. Got my safety glasses on. We'll start with an easy one to get us started. Let's have a little look and see which one I want to try first. This one looks quite promising. Got a nice flat rock to be able to tap down onto the ammonite. A nice little split there. But unfortunately the ammonite within is really calcified and not very well preserved. It's a shame, but it's just the way it goes sometimes. It can't always be perfect. And this is just an example of how it could go. I think we'll try this one that I found earlier, which I'm almost sure it's a Ichthyosaur ammonite. Okay, you can see a little bit of the keel just starting to show there. Just do some gentle taps on this edge here, and that should promote a nice split. Oh, look at that. It's a lovely little example. This one looks like it's got potential, so we'll split that there. There we go, we've got a split. Oh wow, look at that, it's lovely and golden, isn't it? It's a small piece of rock still in the centre which needs to be removed, but the actual ammonite itself is really well preserved. It's got some nice pyritisation, which is what gives this really nice golden effect. I might actually be able to tap a tiny bit more off with the hammer. I don't want to take too much off just in case I damage the fossil. There we go, I think I'll leave it just like that. Just a really small piece of rock to remove. Right, so up next we've got a nodule that one of our friends actually found. Shane said we could split it on camera. It looks like it should actually be a really nice one. There we go. Oh yeah, you can see there, the ammonite looks really nice. It's a really finely ribbed ammonite, got lots of detail.
We've swapped over and I'm going to open up some of the nodules now, so let's open up some more of them. This one has contained perhaps some very fragmented lobster. Difficult to tell for certain. It's a few shells preserved alongside it as well. Overall, nothing brilliant, so we'll crack on with the next few. Got a pretty clean split on this one. Wonder what's inside. Partially preserved ammonite. Might be difficult to continue to open this one, so we'll leave as is. Let's try the next one. There we go, we've got a brilliant split on this ammonite. Moment of truth. Oh, look at that!
It's a really nice one, isn't it?
That is fully pyritised.
I didn't expect it to split like that at all.
Oh, it's so iridescent as well. That's got to be one of the best ammonites of today.
I hope they all turn out like that.
It's taken pride of place there. Right, we've got a couple more to crack open. What do we reckon, guys?
I don't think it'll beat the last one.
Okay, let's see. Not as good. Still pleased with it. It's got a perfect centre. Let's put that with this one. And there's a few smaller rocks yet to open. Next up.
Looks like it's going to be empty, doesn't it? Quite often when they're that hard to break open, it's usually because there's no natural fractures, usually indicating that there's nothing else within the stone. This one, however, looks like Aaron's managed to split that open rather easily.
Oh,
wow, it's really cool.
Another pristine ammonite.
A few nice bivalve shells surrounding it as well by the looks of it.
This is just as good as the pyritic specimen. As you say, with those shells surrounding it, makes it an even more interesting piece.
Let's continue the fossil hunt in search of something incredible.
I've just found something mega. It could be a really good one. Have a look. I just cracked open the edge off this big nodule, and then inside you can see where there's been an ammonite which is broken, but underneath you can see a big ammonite keel. There might be a few more in there. I'll have to be really gentle with it.
Let's have a look and see.
I did not expect that to be in there at all. The nodule's so tough as well. It looks like there's actually a natural fracture, which means that the ammonite itself might break into two, but at least then it'll be a more manageable size for us to take home. That natural crack's just started to go through the ammonite, so if I just gently tap this, hopefully that breaks off and we'll be able to see the cross section of the ammonite itself. Can we see anything? We see a little partial piece there.
I think it's just a partial.
Oh no. I really hope it isn't. I might have to try and break a little piece off this way. I really hope it's there. Oh, it is, it's just a crushed keel. Oh no way. There's a tiny one there, but it doesn't make up for the excitement I had thinking that was going to be complete. So, I mean, at least we've got a tiny one. It's a nice consolation prize. Never mind. It was worth it just on the off chance. That's what it's all about, the thrill of the hunt. We've just been searching in amongst some of these huge slabs and we've managed to find the giant Jurassic poo. So let's dig it out of this slab and see how big it is. I'm just starting quite far away from the poo itself because usually they're quite fragile. You can see there it's quite a sizable lump. Working my way around the shale just to try and loosen it up a little bit. Yeah, the shale's breaking away from the edges. Quite often the poo is relatively mushy, so it might not come up in one lump. I've actually managed to get it on a slab, which isn't too bad. Just try and loosen it a bit more. See there's some small fractures, but that'll give us a little cross section of what the poo looks like on the inside. See there all the soft brown material, and that looks like it's nipped off just there. Cool, there we go. See a little bit more of the cross section there. There's actually a ammonite imprint on the underside of this poo as well. You see there it's pyritized, so presumably many years ago there's been an ammonite laid on the sea floor and then this Jurassic poo's washed up against it. Very nice, if you like fossils. There's a huge Jurassic nodule down here. Let's split it out and crack it open. There we are, looks nice and round. It wasn't completely empty. It's not a big ammonite, but you can see some really small gracile ammonites. So that ammonite. This slab down here contains a huge nodule. Hopefully it contains a fossil, but we won't know for sure until we crack it open. I'm just breaking away some of the softer shale from the nodule itself. Oh yeah, come and have a look from this side. It's a really big nodule. That's immense. The ledge piece of the nodule's actually come loose. But yeah, there's a shell there, and then this here looks like it might have been a much larger ammonite that's crushed. We'll flip this over, we might get a better look. Oh wow, look at that. Oh, there's been a really big Harpoceros ammonite on the surface. Hopefully there's a more 3D example further inside. Nothing on this surface bit here. Might have to try and break this piece off. Still nothing. We managed to break off that surface, and underneath there was actually a huge partial piece of a Ichthyosaur, which from the upper lias is particularly rare. In this piece here, you could see a small section of a Ichthyosaur, which is obviously the Ichthyosaur centre. And as you can see, the keel was much larger and then hasn't been preserved. And as you continue to go underneath, we've actually got a complete Ichthyosaur. So cool. We split it just because we didn't know if there was actually going to be a full centre or whether it was just a little whirl. So if we keep both these pieces, we'll be able to glue it together and prep it, and this will definitely be one for the collection. That is so cool.
This fossil that we found during our fossil hunt is now back in the workshop. It is a large Ichthyosaur ammonite. We have already glued it back together, and you can see some residual pieces of glue which we will be gradually removing as we prepare this specimen. It was quite surreal when we opened up an enormous boulder to find a really unusual large ammonite, which, if it turns out to be fully three-dimensional and fully intact, will definitely become part of our fossil ammonite collection. Using the air pneumatic tools, we begin by moving much of the limestone, and when we get closer and closer to the fossil itself, we can use even finer and finer pneumatic pens to remove smaller and smaller pieces of stone. At this point, we've already spent several hours preparing the fossil. You can see here, millimetre by millimetre, we remove further pieces of glue away from the ammonite shell itself. This is a very delicate and nerve-wracking process, as you might imagine. Due to all of the dust created whilst preparing fossils, it's of course very important to wear appropriate safety gear within the workshop, such as tools for protecting your eyes, such as the eye mask that our dad is currently wearing, as well as making sure that you don't inhale any of the dust either. Lots and lots of tiny pieces of stone are frequently flying off in all directions. That's another reason that you need eye protection. We can now see the outer edge of much of the ammonite is already starting to emerge from the rock. Just think if we hadn't opened that boulder and it had just gotten washed out to sea, this fossil would have never ever seen the light of day. It's such a privilege to be able to save specimens such as this and preserve them for the rest of time. At this point in the preparation process, it's looking really positive that more and more of the ammonite is preserved as we go deeper and deeper into the rock. It is surprisingly common to get all the way to the middle of the ammonite and find out that it is not preserved fully, but we're looking pretty good so far. Look how impressive this 180 million year old ammonite is looking already. It's so exciting, spending a few hours each day preparing this fossil. This fossil was actually prepared over several months. We did most of the preparation within the first few days after finding the specimen, and then we had to put it to one side in order to carry on with some other projects, which we have been showing you bits and pieces of on the channel already. However, now we have picked the fossil back up, and in this video you are going to see the fully finished example of this specimen. We can't wait to show you the rest of this preparation footage and for you to then see the finished fossil itself. You can see there a little bit more of the eye protection that we are wearing, and as you might be able to notice, they actually also act as a small amount of magnification to be able to see closer up to the specimen to ensure that we are being as careful as possible. We do also now have a fossil microscope to allow even more precise preparation. This is without a doubt the most nerve-wracking part of the process. It's that time when we find out whether or not the fossil is fully preserved and whether it is distorted or not, and then the added challenge of removing rock from the most delicate part of the fossil. I think we've lost count now of the amount of times that we have prepared such a specimen, only to find it's not fully intact, and we've had to, unfortunately, abandon the preparation of it. However, this one is shaping up to be quite the special find indeed. If the middle of the ammonite wasn't preserved, it is possible to make a mould and make the fossil look as though it's complete. If we ever do this, we always let people know that we have just done it to highlight what the fossil would have looked like. But with this one, it doesn't look like we're going to need to. Now that we've removed much of the stone, we're actually able to transfer it to one of the fossil stone saws and remove some of the excess limestone surrounding it and shape the overall piece. There was a small bit of damage there where we opened the rock, so we are just restoring that. And here you go. Let's take it to the saw and cut it down a little bit more. First up, we'll just mark whereabouts we are going to reduce that excess limestone from around the edges. This is of course quite a dangerous part of the process, so you have to be really careful. Even though we are just trimming off small amounts of stone at a time, it's very precise and gives really clean edges, and we can also cut a base for the ammonite to be able to stand up on. So it serves for aesthetic reasons as well as functional. The final part of preparing this fossil is to smooth off some of that limestone matrix, and we should be just about finished. And let's take a look at the finished result. Get a look at that. From that enormous boulder of bulky limestone, this fossil is now fully prepared. I love the way that our dad has hollowed out the mouth border to really show off just how well preserved and three-dimensional this Ichthyosaurus ammonite is. This is one of our largest examples of this species of ammonite. The shell of the fossil is also intact all the way to the centre, and our dad has removed all of the limestone so you can see every single detail. What an epic find. That's the end of our fossil hunt now. Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you in the next one.